Good evening. So we're here for the public meeting for our Berg Road construction project. This is one of Southfield's major capital improvement projects this year. You both came in and had a seat. That's great. We do have a sign-in sheet, so at the end of the presentation, if you'd like to go ahead and sign in, just so we have record of who showed up. We are recording this so that we can put this either on the city's YouTube or cable, so if you could save all questions to the end, and then we can answer anything that I haven't covered sufficiently in the presentation. Go ahead, Mark. So tonight we're going to go over the entire project overview and talk about the details of the proposed improvements, what to expect during construction, and then we'll just review the construction contact information and answer any questions you may have. Also go over some of the frequently asked questions we have on a lot of our projects. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Leigh Schultz. I'm the city engineer here at Southfield, and this is Mark Locke. He is with OHM Advisors. OHM prepared the plans, they did the design work, and then they have a construction team that's going to be overseeing the construction this summer. So it's the entirety of Berg Road, starting down at 8 Mile and going all the way up just past Simmons. And it meets up with the project that we had completed back in 2015 along the Northwestern Service Drive. So meeting right up to where that old project had ended. The project, the contractor is planning to start on Monday, May 16th, and it is expected to last the full construction season and expected to be back open to traffic in November of this year. So we have asphalt rehabilitation is the primary fix along the project. There are some portions of Berg Road down by 8 Mile that is in concrete. We are going to be reconstructing most of that in asphalt with just the bridge approaches going back in concrete. Speaking of that bridge that's just north of 8 Mile, we were able to secure some bridge maintenance funds through the Michigan Department of Transportation. So the bridge itself is still going to look the same to everyone at the surface, but there's some underdeck improvements we're doing, and there's going to be new guardrails to bring those up to current safety standards. And there is one sidewalk gap that we are going to be constructing with this project, and I'll review that further on another slide. The project cost, the total project cost is estimated at $5 million, and those funds come from the city's portion of that comes from our road bond construction funds. This is a project that's funded with federal dollars, so we have majority federal dollars to see this project forward, and then we've got some bridge funds, some federal and some state bridge funds. And you all live in this area, so I'm sure you understand, but this is where Berg Road is, east of Telegraph, starts at 8 Mile there, and then that Simmons Street is a local street north of Civic Center Drive. And the bridge location just north of 8 Mile, this slide just details some of the maintenance activities. There's going to be some repair work on the deck or that surface of the bridge, and then there will be an epoxy overlay just to preserve the existing pavement there. And then underneath, the contractor is going to be down there. There's going to be some sandblasting off of the steel beams that are supporting the bridge, and those will all get repainted. And then the guardrails are also going to be upgraded. So the asphalt road rehabilitation, it's generally milling off the old asphalt, and we get 5.5 inches of new asphalt on this project. So some areas it's a simple mill and overlay, other areas it's almost like a heavier mill. We're completely pulverizing, using that as an enhanced base, and then the new asphalt goes on top of that. So this is a step back from a total reconstruction, but to someone driving, it is going to be a brand new asphalt surface, and we do expect a 20-year life at least out of this pavement. So the major intersections at 9 Mile and 10 Mile will be gapped. 9 Mile was done just a few years ago with another project we had, and 10 Mile is a county road. The county actually has that stretch of 10 Mile on their radar in case you were interested, but it's still a few years out, and they will take care of the intersection work when they come for the 10 Mile job. The Civic Center Drive intersection, Civic Center is another city road, so we are going to be doing that resurfacing similar to the rest of the road project. We're going to be resurfacing that intersection as well. And when we do that intersection work, we always upgrade the ADA ramps to bring them up to compliance. This slide again talks about some of the different funding, and I've already reviewed the schedule, so next slide. So this is where the sidewalk gap is going in. This is going to be a new sidewalk on the west side of Berg from 10 Mile, and it extends up to the Chaldean Catholic Church. If you're familiar, they've got existing sidewalk that comes down from Civic Center Drive, so we're just meeting some existing sidewalk there and completing that. We are aware there was a pedestrian fatality here within the last 5 years. That happened with someone walking on the shoulder, and this was really in response to that accident. So traffic control is going to be a big thing on this job. So between 8 Mile and 9 Mile, that is going to be maintained for two-way traffic for the residents that live there or live on the roads that only have access from Berg Road. We're going to have a hard closure at 8 Mile, so everyone will need to enter from 9 Mile Road. If you're heading to a property or the business, there's one business down there close to 8 Mile Road. Everyone's going to be coming off of 9 Mile there. And then from 9 Mile up to Simmons, there will be one lane of traffic maintained. And the first phase of construction has that one-way southbound traffic maintained. And then once they're finished with that side of the road, they'll flip and it'll be one lane northbound traffic while we work on the southbound side. The posted detour will be Lasser Road for both phases of construction. We will always maintain the local access for the residents and the businesses that are affected by this construction, but it is a construction zone, so sometimes there can be delays during the work day. If the contractor is loading or unloading something, there can be 5 or 10 minute delays that you are asked to wait. So if you can avoid it, avoid it as much as possible. And we just want to make sure everyone is safe, and so we just ask people to be patient during construction so it's safe for the drivers and for the workers out there. Driveway closures. The majority of driveways on this stretch are asphalt, so we just have different phasing. Asphalt doesn't require cure, so it's very minimal, just maybe a 15-20 minute delay as we're prepping it, and people can still generally get in and out. If there's a concrete driveway approach that's being replaced, you could be out of your driveway for about 2 weeks. We would directly flyer people right on their door if they are affected by that to let them know when that is. You will be permitted to park on the street overnight during the construction project when you need to, for something like concrete work, or some curb work also could get people out of their driveways. And this is just a map showing north is to the right, so we've got 8 Mile here and goes all the way up to Northwestern, just showing our routes for the detour that's going to be posted and the direction of traffic. So in phase 1, it's going to be southbound only all the way down to 9 Mile, and then you'll see the bidirectional traffic between 8 and 9 Mile, because everyone's going to have to come off of 9 Mile there. So that's going to be especially important just to be careful during the construction zone, because the contractors are going to be working the same place the cars are, slowly passing each other in 2 directions. They'll be doing that under flag control, and if anyone has any issues with that, certainly bring that to our attention. And phase 2, similar map, same detour routes along Lasser Road, except that our one-way traffic from 9 Mile is going to be north, and everyone will it takes a little longer to get to where you're going with these detours and with the construction. So just leave yourself some extra time if you've got to get somewhere to appointments and such, as it can take a little bit longer here. And some questions that come up frequently, first trees. Trees actually just got removed this week. We don't have a lot of tree removals. This project is 2.7 miles long. There were just a handful of tree removals. They are all in that area where we're putting the new sidewalk in. So those just came down just this week. And as far as mail service and trash service, those services are maintained throughout construction. Sometimes if the mail carrier is coming by and they're maybe doing some excavating, you may miss a day of mail, but if you don't receive mail for more than one day, please contact our field team and we'll work with the post office to see if we need to do something different with the mailboxes. Oftentimes we will relocate them to the side of the road we're not working on, and everything at the end gets put back to where it was, but that's some coordination between us and the post office that happens. The school buses, again, the Southfield Public Schools have been notified of the construction and the traffic patterns that are coming. We've got about a month left in this school year, this spring, and then we'll be dealing with the school year again in the fall. So we communicate our plans to the schools. If there's any changes in routes or bus stops, the schools would communicate that directly back to the parents. And restoration, so we will be doing all the turf grass restoration, and if there's any irrigation systems, that is included in the project to restore and make repairs to any damaged irrigation. Any other type of landscaping that might be in the right of way, if you've got your prized rose bush out there or something, reach out to us. Not everything in the public right of way is going to be disturbed, but if possible, if you reach out to us and we find that we are going to be removing it and you really want to keep it, we would ask that you go ahead. You can remove it, replant it after we're gone, but we don't replace landscaping beyond turf. And we always just keep the safety bullets on here. So the contractors, when they're working, everyone's all in their vests, but these are big pieces of equipment and these contractors work on roads that are open, maintaining traffic all the time. So they're pretty good at keeping an eye out for, all the vehicles that are just part of life, because everyone still has to get to and from their homes. So I had mentioned OHM advisors are the project engineers, and the notices that went out, they do have Kara Parks. She's the main project engineer out in the field during construction, and OHM is very good about responding to calls and getting back to people. So please call us if you have questions or concerns about something that's happening. We'll definitely review that and follow up with you. Proline Asphalt is the contractor that was awarded this contract. This is an MDOT-let project because of the federal funding that's involved. So Proline has a contract with MDOT, and then the city enters into the cost-sharing agreement with MDOT for the financial part of it. But it's really the city's consultants that are overseeing the construction. MDOT ultimately has the higher authority oversight. And for the city of Southfield, I'm the city engineer and I'm the city's representative. I'm generally out there every week or two at progress meetings, and then I get involved if there's issues that come up that, decisions that need to be made, particularly if there's financial impacts to decisions, construction decisions, which there's always money involved in those changes, it seems. So that's generally my role in the project. That concludes the presentation. Does anyone have any questions? So for the sake of the recording, I'm just going to repeat your question. The question was about the open ditches. There's a lot of open ditches along Berg Road, and the question was if those are going to stay open or if those will be enclosed. So generally, our open ditches are staying open. Most of this work is staying right inside the actual paved roadway. We're trying to stay out of getting into ditches and driveway approaches as much as we can. This is really a cost control measure. If there's specific areas that have been identified as having drainage problems, we may be doing some improvements in select locations. And we did bring the full set of construction plans here, so if you want to see what's happening in front of your house.
I know this is silly, but speed bumps, is there any chance of putting that one hump so that these cars and motorcycles don't race up and down the road between 8 and 9 hours?
Yeah, the question was about speed bumps. So speed humps, the city has a pilot program that they're just doing. So there's 5 different streets around town. Only one of them got the speed humps because it was so late in the season last year. But this year in 2022, there's going to be 4 more streets that we're putting these speed humps on. So far this is really a pilot program. But the thing with speed humps, they are not appropriate for major roads. So where we are putting speed humps, it is really just on local streets. And in the future, I think there will be more information out there for residents or neighborhood streets if they're interested in speed humps and what that process is. We're still working on what that might be. Mm-hmm.